If you ask an experienced writer how to progress a narrative, one of the tools they might mention is the idea of setup and payoff. In an earlier video in this series, I mentioned how this is one of the tools that falls into the golden rule of anime. This week, Witch Hat Atelier does it again, proving how they build up to a logical and sensible resolve to questions and issues. Another topic that is broached is the concept of specialties and talents, bringing in some of the characters' histories, but also the problem of perspective and how they can clash or serve to better someone's ability to do good. The beginning of the episode opens up to Agathe flying out among the fields. While gazing upon the atelier, she thinks about Coco and her journey till this point. I pointed out in a lot of my other videos, but the story really wants to emphasize that Coco is a foreign entity in a supposedly functioning body of systems. Whether or not the different parts of the collective see Coco as an invader makes the progression we've seen very satisfying. We'll see time and time again how people's expectations of Coco shifts as rumors and whatnot spread throughout Witch society. Agathe acknowledges that Coco is extraordinary in the way she was able to adapt so seamlessly to magic. It may feel like a stray thought, but it's building up to the inevitable questioning of their systems and rules when it comes to enforcement. Still, this concept needs time to simmer, so let's move on to some of the concrete topics in this episode. We're able to see Coco practicing and learning about magic in the atelier. Stacks of books and papers aflutter with spells shows that they have been busy at work. Coco believes she still has a lot of work to go before she gets anywhere considerable. That can be true in some respects, but Kifri mentions how masterful Coco seems with the basics, and specifically when straight lines are used in the sigils. They go on to discuss that specialties are found through learning new types of magic. You'd be able to discover some early on in your studies, but also still encounter new ones later down the line. You can advance all types of niches, but there's going to be obvious strengths of yours that will be your power going forward. For Coco, as Kifri details, it comes from her experience as a tailor's assistant, which isn't the first time it's been brought up. If you remember, episode 3 of the anime had Coco challenge the consent of the crown. There were so many factors wrong about that scenario, such as Coco's inexperience, the ecological status of the Dada range, the pressure and bullying, just to name a few. However, Coco overcame these challenges and solved the problem in her own unique way. Some of that was expressed in the way of her upbringing. For me, that scene where Coco imagined her mother over her shoulder as she was drawing the sigils was very emotional. It's a full circle in the way that, quite literally, she is making use of magic to create her very own spell. With a dominant sigil that creates pressure one way, it was something that Coco could come up with on her own with her limited knowledge. Even if we don't see it initially, this isn't the generic way that students pass this test. During one of the subsequent episodes, Tetia questions why Coco is practicing levitation spells when it should have been practically mastered during the consent of the crown. Coco had her own reasons for repairing the sylph shoes, but there's still that other unspoken rule that magic is very expressive. Just how Coco's inexperience hence relies on the basics and her tailoring skills, Riche is very adamant about doing magic her own way, one of them being that she's well versed in small casting seals. In this episode, we learn that Riche is very opposed to doing things that she doesn't want to do. Later in the episode, she comments that she came to Kifri's atelier because he said she could do things the way she wanted to. Hinted at and adjacently shown through the new apprentice Yuani, not all ateliers are built the same, and that stems from the master themselves. We don't know how the circumstances came about, but Riche moved to Kifri's domicile out of necessity for protecting her identity as a witch. Magic is a very individualistic outlet, so when things threaten Riche's peace, she runs away and hides. Rejecting everything, she still welcomes Coco into her space. Perhaps it's because Coco is an outsider, a potent part of her personality that influences how people see her. For the story, it is an active perspective that the author uses to focus on Coco and her connections to other people. Searching for an example, we can see Agathe at the beginning of the episode pondering the idea of welcoming Coco more into their world. Riche opens up to Coco about her idea of what makes magic special to her. I've spoken about magic in past videos as a studied science, but Richie's perspective shifts the frame to artistic endeavors. It's a manner of finding ways to deliver yourself inside your spells onto others. This is why it's a very important plot point that Richie is taking the second test along with Agat and Yuani. It tests not only the apprentices as they are, but their perspectives and views on magic as a whole. When you bring Coco into the picture, you inevitably create a comparison between outsiders and witches. This week's episode is a setup for a clash of a bunch of ideas that the series has been building up these past couple months. From the characters' backgrounds, to their personalities, and even to their talents. We figured out how gifted Coco and Richie may be in certain areas, but what about Agat and Tetia? Well, I would like to start with Agat since she has a more concrete motivation behind her. This isn't to say that Tetia's isn't valid, but I would say Agat's goals are more tangible. In this case, there's more of a roadmap. Remembering how and what she's been doing the whole series, I'd say that Agat is the most studious and well practiced. She's helped the group multiple times throughout the series, so my immediate thought is to label her as a jack of all trades. There's no specialty in mind, but that's because she is so well rounded as a witch, as I imagine one must be if they want to be a librarian in the Tower of Tomes. Comparing Agat to Tetia, I would say that Tetia's objective and specialty coincide with one another, but rest more on a feeling than a title. We see some of her desires and dreams in the Dragon's Labyrinth. Tetia shows Coco her cloud spell, and its very intent and purpose reflects her goal back at the recipient. She wants to make people happy with their magic. Coco has uttered the same ideas, and in the same way, it works for her as well. Coco's passion for joy with magic, in combination with her inexperience living around it, molded her to master the simple spells first. That is her specialty. Tetia, as it is now, wants to perfect her original spell to bring happiness to people around her and far beyond that. We've seen her use it in the Dragon's Labyrinth and the river incident where the girls encountered the Knights Morales. So far, Tetia has done a good job of employing her own voice in magic. I believe that is what this final arc is going to demonstrate to us in the anime. The second test and many of the examinations, as Kifri detailed, is going to be a trial of the person that the apprentices are. It doesn't only consider their skill with magic, the apprentices need to demonstrate their flavor of magic. In this way, magic can be pinned down to science because it is subject to the witch and how they utilize their tools. Anyhow, that'll be all from me. I'm really excited to get into these final couple of episodes. I want to do more episodic series like this for other shows, so let me know about any other series that you would like to see me cover. As always, thank you so very much. See you all later, you cool people.